So I've changed where I put the video now. I put it in the event. So who's ever looked at the event maybe can find it better. I had it in the group before and nobody seemed to find it. So anyway, we're back. I had started about 5 minutes ago, but I thought I'd try again and move where the thing was, the event. So we're talking about spells, spellcraft, and what that is. I don't use the word necessarily witchcraft because witchcraft is a whole bunch of other things, more than spells. Maybe it's good I went back and I started here. Witchcraft is a study, a life study, and also a specialization. If people are witches, they could be maybe Wiccan or of the religion Wicca. They could be pagan. They could be Santerian. They could be Voodoo. They could be a lot of other religions who still call themselves witches. But Wiccans are not necessarily witches, or though they are, and generally speaking, if they follow the rules of that particular neo-pagan religion. You call yourself a witch within your degree system, and that's what Gerald Gardner, look him up, Gerald, Gerald, Gardner, wrote down in the 1950s, and when he started this Wiccan religion. Anyway, so spellcraft. What's a spell? Spellcraft, crafting spells. That's the idea here today. So we're talking about how to do several things. This is going to be many things, actually. This is going to be a once a month class talk. It's an hour long, and I will start to go through different types of things that you can use to make spells. Like a lot of people like to burn candles or maybe think about incense when they talk about spells, but there are multiple ways to do things, and you can use things as far-fetched as makeup and perfume, and as close as bath salts, incense. Yes, create your own candles, yes. And so what we're going to do, and also just carve your own candles, understanding the symbols that go into candle carving and that kind of a thing. And in each class, I will go into pretty much as great detail as I can in an hour on the internet and tell you what to try to do. So speaking of the internet, I have some information also from the internet and on the internet. I'm going to put up, as we go on today, my websites where you can find information that I've put up. I've been doing other classes as well that are tied into this. I am actually the Magic Apothecary, and that has been my business and work for about 20 or so years. I make products, spells for people, and I also do readings and teachings and things like that. So within that work, there's an educational area, and each one of those is broken up by type. So this is a spellcraft class, and then there's the Reiki class, and I have astrology classes, and I have tarot classes, etc., etc. And I've decided to start 4 giant ones this year on the internet. So the first one I did was tarot, and you can find that tarot group link here on Spellcraft, my Spellcraft group, if you want to just click on that, and this will be up there as well, so you can find it there. Also, I did a talk on Mabon, which is a Wiccan pagan holiday, which took place on September 21st. This is happening on September 28th, a week later. I do all these talks on Thursdays, usually from 7 to 8. So that's when you'll find me somewhere, and you'll find the information on the Magic Apothecary. So join that major group, and you'll find all the information on that one, all the dates and times of the events. And also join the groups, because they have lovely conversations, and I try to put up as many things as I possibly can, as often as possible for you guys. Hi, you guys. There are people here. I'm glad to see you. Thank you for coming in. Many blessings. All right, so spellcraft. So what's a spell? Well, you spell words, right? You have spelling class in school to learn how to spell. And there's tricks to spelling. Yeah, there are tricks to spelling in English, for sure, and in every other language. But there are also tricks to making spells and putting them down and discovering what it is that you exactly want. So we'll start with that tonight, and then I'm going to go and talk through, quickly probably, the list of things you might want to think about purchasing or borrowing in order to start making your own spells. And by the way, next Thursday, I forgot to say, is a class on herbalism and magic and how they are correlated, healing and magic, and how almost all healing herbs are used or were used for magic, i.e. sage, as an example. And we'll go into depth on that next week. And that'll help your study with this if you're interested, because spellcraft uses almost entirely herbs and live things. So Hi, another person just joined. Welcome. Thank you. Anytime anybody has a question, by the way, you can just write them in the comments. If you have something really you want to ask me, and I promise to answer. I do, even if we run over, I promise. Okay, so spells. What is a spell? How to make a spell? How to start a spell? Well, you have to spell it out. I know that sounds dumb, but it's true. So I was thinking about, let's use an example that a lot of people can understand. Let's say you want to do better at your job. Common need in spells or spell work is for more money or for jobs or for luck. So just say you have a job, for argument's sake, and you want to do better. I want to do better at my job. That's the want. That's the beginning root of the spell. I want more at my job. By the way, I have a cuckoo clock, so when you hear it, just let it roll over and ignore it. It's just telling me it's 1/4 because I have a crazy cuckoo clock. All right, anyway, so I want to do better at my job. The first question you ask yourself is how? What do you want? How do you want to do better? Well, I want more money. Could be a common answer. Could be other things like I want to be closer to my boss, or I want advancement, or I want to become an expert in my field, or I want to be recognized. I want to be, published. Many different answers. But let's stay basic. I want more money. Okay, I want more money. Why? Well, that's a silly question. Everybody seems to want more money, right? But why? If you had more money, what would you get? Start writing this out now, by the way. You've been writing this whole time, I hope, in your magical journal, which I would recommend in Spellcraft. You get one right away. It can be anything, notebook, pad, could be on the internet. You can type yourself stuff and leave it in the cloud. I don't care. Some witches get very upset about people using electronics. I don't, obviously. We're right here. So anyway, writing it out. I want to do better at my job. Why? Oh, well, what do you want? I want more money. Why? What will it get you? What will you get? What will happen? Then you get into the real need of a spell. How will it make me feel if I have more money and do better at my job? Yeah, maybe I'll buy a new house. If I buy a new house, how will that make me feel? Maybe I will have more stuff that I want, vacations. How will that make me feel? Maybe I could buy a new car. How would that make me feel? And then you say, okay, say it is a simple thing like I want to buy a new car. I want more money because I want to buy a new car. Okay. How will it feel to be in that new car? Then you have to see yourself in that car. You have to imagine it. All magic starts in the mind. All magic starts in the imagination and in visualization of exactly what you want. To say, I want money, sure, yep, Why? Why? And what will it get you? So a lot of people call a book of spells a book of shadows. That's something you might have heard or saw somewhere or seen on the internet, or you might even have one. You might have already started this work. So that's where spells get kept. So I want you to think about that. I want you to make sections in your book of spells. I want you to do the rudiments of spells. So you make a header for something like money, and in the money header, you can start putting information, like you would in a binder. You put the little divider, and then that's the money stuff, okay? And then there's love, say, and love stuff, and on, based on need or desire. Because we're going to work out a spell, and then you're going to keep a track of it. And what happens? You're going to want to understand things like this now. So we already talked about a very complicated issue, and we will go back over that every single class. But it's about why. I want something, why? You could want a new lover, why? I want a new house, why? How will you feel if you get it? How will you feel? No, when you get it, because it is done as soon as you think of it. By the way, there's a very common saying witches and spellcrafters use, which is, as soon as you start thinking of a spell, it is already started. Because, it starts in the mind. It starts in the imagination. If you're not meditating or haven't ever, I'm going to suggest you find a way to do that. There's tons of fun ways. I hate to meditate. I do. I hate it. But because I hate the practice of having to sit. So I found a lot of other ways to do it. I use music or humming or sound or word or just singing, or I can use movement. Those are all possible ways to meditate. What is meditation? Well, it's really clearing the mind, focusing the mind. So I suggest, even if you are a person that can sit still for a minute, I can't. If you can, yes, good for you. And start finding ways to do that. People use mantra, people use chants. You can research that for yourself until you find the thing that really fits. I even found an app that is a Buddhist mindfulness thing on my Android, and it takes me a minute a day to just sit still and do nothing. And that's all I'm asking. Start with the 60 seconds. If you're more advanced, then go ahead and keep up with your practice and see what else you can add. 60 seconds is the beginning. Yeah, I'm glad you like it. Thank you. So that's what I do, as little as possible, because we have to learn to have a blank mind in order to make it like our blackboard or blank page that we can write our spells upon. So that's one most important thing. Okay, so that would be a great way to start. And in that Book of Shadows, let's say you want to put in there whatever you feel you want to work on in this year, because we're going to be doing this for 52 weeks. I'm going to do this cycle once a month for a year. So we'll finish up probably next August, or have a final in September where we finish talking about spellcraft. But there'll be 12 lessons. So you may want to do 12 separate issues in your life you want to deal with, or you can just stick with one and concentrate. Everybody's different. Okay, so that's that. That's one thing to start with. That's the second thing to start with. Third thing to start with, you must understand the phases of the moon. What am I talking about? After this video, I'm going to put up some links so that you can see calendars of what that looks like. If you don't understand what that means, that's totally fine. If you're new at that, cool. Here's a good way to think of it. When you look up at the moon, whatever's happening on the right side of it is what's happening. In other words, if the right side is getting lighter and fatter with light, then the moon is called waxing. It's waxing, it's growing, it's getting heavier and thicker until it becomes full. If on the right side of the moon, when you're looking up, that's my right hand, it might look left to you, but it's my right here. If on the right side of the moon, it is becoming dark, then it is waning, shrinking, going away, getting smaller. When the moon is waxing, we are getting more power coming up. This is the time when from the new moon, which is when the moon looks like it's almost invisible in the sky. You don't even see it. That's the new moon, until the full moon. And it's at the end of the full moon phase is when you do magic to increase things. Increase love, increase money, increase power, increase luck. That's the time of the month that you start working on it, if you can. And the other side is waning, when the moon is getting darker and darker. That is when you start doing magic from the full moon to the new moon again. That is from the full to the new. What you do then is stuff that is leaving, going away, taking it away. Weight loss spells, a breakup spell, a removal of bad luck spell, anything you can think that you want to release. That's something to understand almost immediately. So start working with the moon. What I do every day when I wake up, when I remember, most days, is I have a journal. And in the journal in the morning, I look at the astrology for the day. And so I have familiarized myself immediately in the morning with the phase of the moon. And so I know where I stand as far as magic is concerned. Every month, all the time, every day. Second, if you don't understand astrology, that's okay. Totally okay. You might want to start looking at it a little bit. Just the simplest thing, like understanding where we are, excuse me, in the zodiac, as far as the sun sign. Like right now, where are we? Libra, right? We're in the time of Libra. So where are we? That's an important thing to know. Where are we, and what are its influences on us as beings on this planet? Now, there are great teachers online. I will do one of these maybe next year. I'm not the best. I'm not like the best of teachers out there. There's a gentleman named Rick Levine, Levine, and he is like a superb speaker and teacher of astrology. You can find him on tarot.com too. He does a daily thing, and he does once a month on the full moon information, and it's really beautifully done and very scientific, and he also goes with along with astronomy as well. So if you really want to take a jump into that study, go right ahead. It will help your spells. If you don't, it doesn't even matter. If you don't want to know anything about astrology, that's fine too. Just kind of pay attention to the season. Like right now, it's getting darker earlier, colder, well, we hope, but a little more cold, especially in the evenings, and the sun is not around as much. We just went through the equinox, so things will start getting darker earlier, and the dawn will come later. And so it's a dark time of the year. Just like the dark of the moon or the waning time of the moon, it's the waning time of the year. And we'll come around to the waxing time of the year after the winter solstice on December 21st. So this might be a time you might say, okay, you know what? During this time until December 21st, I'm going to take away things. I'm going to clear up my life. I'm going to clear up my job situation. I'm going to clear up my relationship. I'm going to clear up my health. This is a time to remove. So you don't have to know what sign it is or what's happening, but if you do want to know, everything you learn just makes your spells, I think, just more interesting and sometimes more powerful, but definitely more interesting. Okay, so there's that. Also, there's something called planetary hours. I'm not saying you have to know them, but I think you should look at them. Every hour of the day is ruled by a planet. So you should look those up when you're doing spells. In the very beginning, I'm not saying it's something you should keep doing every single moment of your life, but now that Google exists, and I didn't have this when I began witchcrafting or spellcrafting, so now that Google exists, you can find these things. So just look up the planetary hours, and you could probably just look them up anytime you feel like, even on your phone or anywhere. Or you can, actually, there's an app. I have an app on my Android. I have lots of good witchcraft apps are out there, so use them. Okay, so those are the beginning preliminary things. You're going to get a journal, something it doesn't have to be fancy unless you want one, and that's up to you. You can put it on the internet, it doesn't matter. And you're going to start deciding what spells you want to do. It's 12 months, so you can, like I said, you can do 12 spells, or you can do one spell that has different aspects to it. It's entirely up to you. But if you have questions about it, thank you. That's great. Thank you very much. I love that. Thank you. Somebody put up a great site over here, you guys, so you can just take a look at it. And I'm going to add to that much, much more. So we'll have tons of stuff to peel through. One of the things about this study I find, and people sometimes get frustrated, there's a lot to it. There's really a lot to it. And you have to take your time, and you have to go slow, and you have to do it at your own pace. And whatever pace that is fine. I wish we had wands and I can say, ejectus matukius and be Harry Potter. I don't know. I made that up. Sorry. I can just make things happen. That doesn't happen. Although I have to say, there's a certain thing within Harry Potter that is true and makes sense. I think she knew what she was talking about somewhat. If you look at Harry Potter and the School of Wizardry, I do that. And we teach these things. They have to be taught separately. So this is, crafting a spell. And then I'm teaching, plants and medicine and herbs and magic. And I'm teaching, the planets. And I'm teaching, creatures or whatever, or rocks or anything. Everything that was taught in Hogwarts most of the time, witches have to know or get a good idea of. So if you're interested in this stuff because of Harry Potter, then good. I know she did a great job, but I just wish my wand worked the way Harry's did. There is a part of that too, though, with the imagination, the power that is focused through that wand, and that's how we empower spells. So let's talk about that. Empowering a spell. What does that mean, empowering a spell? Well, we could have a spell made of anything, which we get into as we do get into it. But let's just say for discussion's sake that I'm going to empower a candle for love, common, right? I get myself a candle that corresponds to love. We'll get to that in a moment. And I empower it. But how do I do that? Well, The first thing we did, A, was decide exactly what I wanted. So say, we'll go back to that other example of a job. Forget love for a minute, even though it's a common desire. We'll go to the job. I want a better job. So I say I want a candle to make that happen. Okay, I inscribe my candle. I do what I have to do with my candle. And then I say those words out loud about what I want before I light that candle. Simple. I put my intention on that candle. A lot of people say, and I tend to agree, that a spell is a prayer that you can see. But a lot of us know prayers or chants, so it's the same thing. It's a visualization of what you desire in a really, really organized fashion, then putting your energy into it so that when you do see that candle or magical pouch or oil or whatever we get into, it will remind you again and again about your intention. It'll keep your mind on that intention. As we go, and I will put some up, there's a book out there called, not Practical Magic, I forget the name of it. I'm going to put it up after this too, I'll remember. Positive Magic. Positive Magic. This is a great book for a beginner. It's an old book, but there's a good portion of it talking about how to organize speech so that you can spell better. So take a look if you're interested. You can find it easily on Amazon or used books, or you can find pieces of it written here and there. Marion Weinstein is the author, and it's called Positive Magic. So give that a look if you're interested in learning how to word things and not even have to use a physical manifestation of your will. You won't have to if you use that book and understand how it works. Use a candle. But we're here to learn about candles. So we won't talk about that too much. But it's about the word and learning about the word. Okay, so empowering a spell. That's another thing you will hear. Then we talk briefly, I'll talk briefly about it tonight, and it will come again and again, about things like color correspondence. This is important. If you're writing, write it down. There are books and books and books online about magical color correspondence. For example, we'll go back to the idea of candles because they make them in so many colors and it's easy to find. So say I want to gain more money and or do better at my job. Well, most people think of money as green because we're in America, and that's what our subconscious, well, most of us are America. I don't know if somebody's from England here, so I don't know, maybe different there. I think money's green there too, or a variation thereof. But also think of wealth as the earth herself, green, growing things, the power of growth. Money equals green to many people. So green candle. Love. Not sexual love, just love. Pink. Passion. Sexual love. Red. Pretty simple explanations. I don't have to go into them, right? Blue, people use blue for opening the throat or for speaking their mind, or for people who are speakers or teachers. You can use it for that. Pink, green, purple. Purple is used to open up the mind, open up the top chakra, to commune with the goddess and God, to commune with the all, to commune with whatever God or deity you believe in, or not, just the universe itself. Gold is used for fame. Gold or orange, fame. And also creativity. Yellow is used for communication and travel, but also used for releasing emotion. Black is used to take away. Brown is used for animal work. If you're working for an animal or pet that you want to heal or work with, brown is a common color used for that. It doesn't have to be, because white covers all of it. Any doubt of anything color correspondence-wise, use white. Now, those colors I'm saying are in candles, but they can also be in fabric when you make a voodoo doll or a puppet. They can be in bottles when you fill them with herbs. They can be flowers that you pick or use. They can be the way you color a soap that you bathe with or a bath. So that's an important thing to get your mind really around. That and the phases of the moon. I would say that this month you guys have to do that. That's very important. Again, books and books and books all over the internet about it. Not hard to find. And if you understand chakra, you know, the idea of a Hindu work and chakra work, then you can understand that each chakra correlates, it has a color. So again, if you want to do work to heal, say your heart, that's a green. So you'd go in that direction. So I have a book up on Amazon just about this exact thing, and I'll send you guys the link. It's like, I don't even know what it is. I think it's $1, but you can look at it and read it and say, oh, this color corresponds to this chakra and this. And I also have links to deity within that and sound. So that's something to play with. I'll send it to you later. So it's at Amazon.com. It's like a little book, and you can get it on your Kindle. So cheap, nothing, just to have it. Okay, so sound, color, music, word. Let's get more physical. How do I make a spell? Oh, well, we talked about writing it out. We talked about understanding. We talked about correspondences of the moon phases, the planetary hours, the season or the zodiac signs we're in, where the moon is, by the way. Secondary to the waxing and waning moon, the moon herself is in a sign every day, and it changes often. So if you're interested in that, easy to find. Just type in moon sign phases, Google it, done. And that's a nice way to start to learn astrology. So say the moon is, I don't know what it is right now, I didn't look, but if it's in Leo, say, what does that mean? And usually those little places you find this information will tell you a sentence or two, just to get you started. You see how thick it is. To me, if you paint or cook or compose or do something that's multifaceted, layered in life, it's an art. So it's spelled craft, but it's really spell art. And people call it the art of witchcraft or crafting spells. You have to have the craft part, and that's what we're doing here. This is the nuts and bolts. But I also like to give you a little bit of the art. So the art is the layering, the flavoring, the smells, the sounds, the colors, the words, the altar, the place you put your spells, the way you empower your spells, how you use your imagination to come up with beautiful ways to make them for yourselves. Because it's for you. You're not, unless you're going to open a business and sell spells, which people do, and I can tell you for sure that it's not lucrative. So just know that it's not lucrative because people like to make them for themselves, and as they should, as I totally agree with. Whenever I do make spells for people, and I have, and I do, I work with them. I tell them what to do. I will send them the stuff, but I tell them what to do so they can just do them. They have to do the work. I can't do it for anybody. That's a major thing. That's a very important part of spellcraft to understand. You may love somebody or care for somebody, and they're asking you for a spell, and you can help them put it together, and you can help them do it, but you can't do it for them because they have to do it for themselves. They have to put their own power in it. They have to visualize. They have to empower the spell. So we'll get into that more and more. As you empower spells yourself, for yourself, you'll understand more and more what that means if you haven't done that already. So the art is the layering. It's like creating perfumes. People don't put, and you can use a simple one smell, but perfumers, they create smells with multi-levels. Chefs, they create tastes with multi-levels of spice and different flavors. So this is how magic works. And the more creative it gets, the better. And the more creative it gets, the better you get as a person. So just think about that. Mull on that. So let's talk about the supplies. Let me get that up. I want to get that up and take a small brain break. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. So we'll get the brain break. If you want, you can look for it on the Spellcraft class. I have it up there now. It's there for you to look at. So time to begin, it says, and it has the group. But I also have the schedule there for you guys to look at. Take your time to look at that. And by the way, this video and all the videos I do are always up. They stay there. And then I move them to Facebook, to YouTube, and then are on my websites. So you can always just go look at them again. No reason. And if you miss, it's fine. You just catch up when you want. And also, please do write to me if you have questions. I don't mind at all. I actually like it. It's fun. I like answering questions. And if I don't have an answer, that's even better because I get to learn too. So, and I will help you and we will learn together. That's how I teach. So your supply list. Let's talk about the supply list. Oh, it's huge. You can buy small amounts of anything if you have to buy. I understand people have financial restrictions. I'm not asking you to spend thousands of dollars on anything, but you're going to need some stuff. You'll see a lot of this can come from recycled materials as well. So you need small 1 dram bottles between the 10 and 12. Those are like little tiny bottles with a little, sometimes have a little black cap. And lower down on here, you can see I put a link for where you can purchase some of these things online. So in case you need to do that, that's kind of what I do. It's even though by the way, I'm in New York City, but it's hard to find things in wholesale or bulk here. So same with anybody, you can find them online. You can also find, if you want to, and you can ask somebody to get them for you wholesale. Azure Green, A-Z-U-R-E, Green. I forgot to put them on the list. They do have supplies. They're not a wholesale company, so there's that. So 10 to 12 small 1 dram. Now, dram is not an ounce. It's less than an ounce, so make sure you understand the difference. Please look that up online. Look at the conversion. Look at the bottles before you purchase them. You can use more, but that just means you're going to make more. So these are just tiny little oil samples we're going to make. Then you need between 4 8-ounce brown glass bottles with caps. Brown or blue or green, it doesn't matter, as long as they have a cap, and it cannot be plastic. So if you have jars and you have a dishwasher or a way to really sanitize things, because I really suggest you do that. If you're going to make stuff in jars that you've already used, they could be baby food jars, easily, not a problem. Clean them really, really well. Boil them, sanitize them, sterilize them, and you can use them as long as you have the caps. So 8 ounces is about, I think, the size of a baby food jar. But if you're going to use baby food jar, you're going to have to cover it with something to keep it from going bad, because not that it will, but it could be damaged by heat or light. So that's why the colored bottles. Almond oil. You can use almond oil, or if you're allergic to any nuts, please do not use almond oil. You can use jojoba oil or rose oil, or anything else you want, including vegetable oil. It can be olive oil. I like to use olive oil. I like olive oil. I like the smell of it. And I like green extra virgin olive oil. So, but be aware when you're making something that you're going to try to keep for a long time, that can go rancid. So the nut oils, if you can use nut oils, they last a little longer. That's why it's good to buy them, and always say to you, buy organic. Just remember, everything you put into your spell and everything you put it into is going to have energy. So if it's organic, we hope that it has a better energy than a non-organic thing, but you can always cleanse stuff with your intention, and we'll talk about that as we go. Essential oils. Now, it says here, it will depend on your magical working. Yes. So start thinking about what exactly it is you want to do. If you want to do work on love, what essential oils speak to you about love? Roses, a lot of people say right away. Some people say lavender. Some people will say spicy things. Whatever. Make that list and then start looking for them. The same thing with, say, magic for money. I want to do money magic. Well, what smells like money? I make a mixture that has all kinds of pumpkin spice plus things like frankincense and myrrh in it. So that's what I use, but other people can use different things. Some people just use basil or oregano to represent money, and the smell of it's enough for them, and that's great. So start thinking about what is your thing. What does money feel like to you? So love, money, passion. Well, what's hot? Spicy, cayenne pepper or hot peppers or ginger, things like this. You notice I'm kind of talking a little bit about food and flowers, herbs. Then we go down the list of anything you might want to do. If you want to remove something, if you want to start with an anti-hex or a removal of weight loss spell, a bad luck spell, what would that smell like? Well, something clean. Some people use crazy things like bleach. Don't want to do that. But what smells clean to you? Pine. A lot of people use pine sol or pine. That's a clean other thing that's used in detergents. Lemon, orange. You see? Once you start thinking about it, you go, oh, I can do that. That's easy. If you are confused about where to go with essential oil smells, please do write to me. I will help you. That is definitely what I will help you with, for sure. I know a lot about that thing. So, essential oils, but do they have to be essential oils? No. Essential oils are very expensive. You can make an oil yourself, but once again, remember that anything organic can rot and go rancid. Say, for example, you want to make a rose oil with roses that grow in your own garden. Perfect. You can put roses in a jar, maybe a quarter of the jar full of rose petals, and then 3/4 of the jar full of oil. But if anything is in those rose petals, it's going to go bad. I've made one time a dandelion oil that you didn't want to smell. It was just terrible, horrible. So you can don't leave them in as long as you for many people, they believe to make oils, you can use a double boiler. You can use the organic material, and on top of the double boiler, on top of the boiling water, you can put the flowers into the oil and just for a little while, let them seep, and then turn it off and then strain. That's a better way to go than putting the stuff in the jar altogether, unless you freeze it. I'm talking from experience. But essential oils are easily gotten. And if you don't want to buy tons, start thinking about, okay, well, what spells can I do that can use these for? Please try to make sure that they are essential oils and not perfume oils. It's very important. I still get fooled. Make sure, and I've been doing this for like 20 years, make sure that they are essential oils. And you can get them in health food stores now, and definitely online, and I did leave you some information on the bottom. A lot of herbal places have them, as well as places that sell supplies for like soap making or that kind of work. So look around, and again, if you're confused or can't find them, I can certainly help. You need bowls, glass bowls. I says leave it at the M Center. Well, that's where I was teaching my physical class. You can't leave your bowls in my house, sorry. But you can leave them in yours. And you want to have two. You want to have one that's for dry and one for wet. And this is going to be stuff that you're never going to put anything else in ever again. And you shouldn't have done already. It should be something you've never used before for food. It's totally new, totally clean. They should be pretty big too. You're going to need to mix large amounts of some materials. So definitely go to the 99-cent store, buy a couple of bowls, and then that's your magical stuff. Or find bowls that you find beautiful. People can use anything. I mean, certainly I would, if I could, buy beautiful crystal bowls to make my magic in. If you can, good, do it, because it'll only make it better for you. Whatever you can afford is perfectly fine. Spoons, wooden spoons. I use wooden spoons. They get ruined. You can use tongue depressors. They get ruined. I don't care about my wooden spoons getting ruined. They split actually sometimes from the oil, but I don't care. So I keep them and I use them. I polish them with oil and they live as long as they live. And tongue depressors, the same thing. You just rinse them off, start over. Only if you're using them in that spell. Don't reuse spoons in different spells. So like I'm saying, wooden spoons, I mean a lot of wooden spoons or a lot of tongue depressors. Wooden spoons are easier to find. You can find them now in a package 3 for $1. So, or any wood that you want to use. I don't like to use plastic in my spells. You can use glass if you want to mix with glass, although that can be tricky. You can, but don't use metal. Don't use metal, and please don't use plastic. unless you have no choice. I use plastic when I do hot things for good reason, and we'll get into that with the soap making and candle making. All right, so, but generally speaking, wood. White pine hamster bedding. What? Hamster bedding? Yes. And several, you can share, you can't share these, but people could in my physical class, but you can buy a small amount, or you can just find wood shavings anywhere, like from a lumber yard, or if you have your own, if you know somebody does woodworking, or somebody who has something that they use, you can go to a construction site, but you need wood shavings to make incense. That's important. So think about how to do that. That's why I recommend the hamster bedding. And even when you get the hamster bedding, you're going to have to break it up quite a lot. So look for pine hamster bedding with very small bits. Mason jars. We know what these are. They are the canning jars with the lid that people use to can tomatoes or vegetables from the garden. You need these for storage. They can be regular jars again, as long as they're 32 ounces. You're going to need to put a lot away. So figure that out for yourself. Labels. I don't mean labels to sell things. I mean labels to label. I'm lazy, so I use masking tape all the time, and I write on it, or other tapes and write on them. Just know that masking tape is better than any other tape because oils will erase anything on regular tape. So you want to label your magic. You want to label the things you make, the date, time, moon phase, etc., etc. So you want something to write that on. And Sharpies, Sharpies, or crayons. They don't melt. They don't come off. You need a special knife for carving. Now in Wicca, this certain knife is called a boline, B-O-L-I-N-E, and it's based on a knife people assumed that druids used to cut mistletoe. It's like a sickle. You don't need this, although you can buy them if you want, and they can be quite beautiful. All you need is a knife that is relegated to this and nothing else, and it should be sharp. Also, the carving knife should be a pairing knife, a small knife and a larger knife. So you need one to chop and one to cut into, say, candle wax. Or if you want to, I use sculpting knives because I also sculpt. So I have sculpting knives. Those work really, really well, especially for candles. Again, 3 to 5 tiny jars, small jars, 4 ounces, small jars, just storage jars of any sort. Those don't have to be dark colored. They could be anything. 3 or more perfume spray bottles with about 2 ounces with spray top. Now, if you have the wherewithal to buy just a regular spray bottle, those are like sometimes $1. Those will work fine. Just know that it's going to be, you need more of them later on. Those are the large ones. But you can buy online, really, even, and I put down there on eBay, just type in cologne spray bottle, new. You'll find it in craft sites on eBay, tons of them for like nothing, for very little. Or you can go to the bottle site I listed below on that list, and you can pick up fancier ones, nicer ones. Also, large spray bottles for cologne and air freshener. Okay, 2 are fine. That's just a regular spray bottle you would use to iron or spray plants. Epsom salts, drugstore purchase, very inexpensive. Baking soda, same thing. Orris root powder can be gotten online, and there's different places to buy it. I have it listed at the bottom. Vegetable glycerin. This is something that holds smell in perfume. You probably know about it from candy making if you do candy making. You can get that very inexpensively, and you don't need a lot. You need a very small bottle in the supermarket. Perfumer's alcohol. If you want to, you can use regular 91% rubbing alcohol, but perfumer's alcohol, I think it's like 150%. So it's much stronger, lasts much longer, and the smell isn't as strong as rubbing alcohol. But don't have to. You can even use witch hazel if you want to for the perfume making we're doing. But you need some kind of an alcohol to break down the oil to make perfume. You need some large pull-out pillar candles. That's something that can be purchased now. If you wanted to say, yes, I'm definitely doing a green candle for money and definitely doing a yellow candle for fame and fortune, But if you're not sure yet what you're doing, not time to do it, you can purchase those online, and we have plenty of time between classes. We have 4 weeks between classes, so plenty of time to get things done and purchased. They need to be pulled out, though. You don't want to get just the pillar candles that are in the glass. You want one that comes out because you want to be able to draw and carve that candle. I mean, cornstarch, easy to have and find. Talcum powder. If you can find talcum powder without any aroma, good. If you can't, stick to something like baby powder, or it doesn't matter if it has talc in it, doesn't matter what it has, as long as it's a base. And it doesn't have to be, it could be cornstarch, it doesn't have to be talc. We use that to cut powder. So you can use it or not use it. Some people have a problem with talcum powder. Not a big deal. Shea butter. You can buy that in quantities of, like, tiny quantities online or larger quantities. You might be able to find it in a health food store. Coconut oil, easily available now online. So easy to get. Extra virgin is best. Cocoa butter, same thing. You can get that online or get that in a health food store. Beeswax granules. You don't need a lot. Small bag. We're going to use those to set. As we go on, we're going to use this to set perfumes. Hookah charcoal or incense charcoal. Right? These are little round incense charcoals. People sometimes use them to smoke hookah pipes. They use the same charcoals, and they self-light because they have saltpeter in them. And we're going to use those to burn your incense once it's ready. Your loose incense. Glitter or glitter powder for baths. So glitter, lots of glitter. Get your glitter. Glitter, by the way, school supplies right now are on sale. So glitter is on sale. Go get it. Any colors you like. Get a combo pack. Don't get glitter glue. Just plain old glitter. All right, so there's that. And glitter powder you can get online in supply places that do soap making and bath salts making. They have a powder that you can put in if you want that. You don't have to use it. And also, might be able to find those on makeup sites. Okay, scent-free bubble bath base or scent-free dish soap. Easy to find. Either way is good with me as long as it's good with you. Ammonia, regular household ammonia. Pine Sol, the same stuff we've used for centuries and people use in their bathrooms. Body wash containers can be used if clean. That is fine. Same thing with the jars. If you have a body wash container, shampoo bottle that you're using now that's going to run out, or any kind of container that's contained soap before, rinse it out, rinse it out, rinse it out a lot, and then you can reuse it as we make our spells. However, if you want to buy, again, new packaging, you can certainly look at those links that I have down below and do it there. Floor wash containers can be used if clean. So like if you have a Pine Sol and you use it, or you have Clorox or whatever, and you've used it, clean it out, clean it out, clean it out, and it can be reused. You need hot pepper flakes, or hot pepper, or cayenne pepper, or chili pepper, black pepper, kosher salt, or any type of salt. If you feel like you want to use regular table salt, fine with me. If you want to use Himalayan pink salt, fine with me. Just get salt, whatever one floats your boat. Garlic, crushed garlic can be powder. Probably should be powder. We don't want wet things, they do rot. So crushed garlic, paper towels. Please make sure you have paper towels. You're gonna need them. I don't need a lot, mean a lot, just or something to clean up with that you're gonna use only for magic. I like the paper towels only because then I can't, contaminate one spell to another, and I won't get some oils on my things that I use for my cooking that might be poisonous. So that's why I say paper towels. And yes, some things are poisonous. That's true. Apron. You don't want to ruin your clothes. You're gonna be doing a lot of dirty work, getting dirty, getting full of wax, getting full of oil. Yummy, great stuff. But you need to cover your clothing, and you need rubber gloves. You will get burns on your hands using some of these things, and you will hurt your eyes again if you don't use eye goggles or protective glasses. So, because some things like have a really strong odor, if you start doing things like sulfur, which somebody might want to use, you can really burn your eyes. Garlic does that too. Nose and mouth protective masks, same thing. You're going to be using a lot of oils. And also, please, when you do this work, because I'm not watching you and it scares me, but when you're doing this, make sure it's in a ventilated area, please. please ventilate, 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 and make sure you cover your mouth. And make sure that if you have allergies, that you're very cautious. Very cautious. And please don't use anything that can harm you in any way or anyone near you in any way. Nothing explosive. Don't use anything like match heads or anything like that in your mixtures. Please be careful about where you buy things. Please be careful how you use them, and never put this stuff in your mouth, eyes, nose, ears, or any other mucous membranes. Thanks. Done. All right. I need a fireproof dish or cauldron. You can buy a little cauldron online. Azure Green has cute little ones, and you can buy them in supply stores, or just a fireproof dish, but make sure that it's fireproof and it won't explode. That's for incense burning. So pint-sized clean Chinese soup containers, 5 or so. I mean the plastic type that the soup comes in, not the paper ones. Okay, and if you have a dishwasher, you can clean those out and use those again. Or if you like, you can use Tupperware or any kind of new, if you want to purchase new plastic containers to keep things fresh. Coffee grinder, herb grinder, or mortar and pestle. Those are 3 choices. A coffee grinder and an herb grinder, almost the same. A coffee grinder, they're electric ones. You just press the top and it just, I love it. Beats them up, all done. But then there's herb grinders that do this. And then there's a mortar and pestle. Anything will do, whatever you like. Mortar and pestle is fun because it really can grind in your intention when you're doing that work. But you can grind with a coffee grinder the same way. You need some small plastic bags to keep things in, to keep them dry. And you need you have to clean up now, but this is silly because it was in a class that was physical, but it's true in your own life. You want to clean the area you're going to work in so thoroughly before you start and so thoroughly when you're done. Please try not to, if you do this work in your kitchen or on your kitchen table, please cover it. Please cover it with plastic. From my own experience. So yeah. And sponges for cleanup, of course, the same thing anybody has in their house. And then also herbs, various herbs based on your workings. So we'll go through them. This month, start thinking about, again, what you'd want to do. And let's look for herbal correspondences for your workings. So again, if you're choosing to do a love spell, okay, let's think about herbs that go into love work or passion. What herbs might be in passion spells? What herbs might be in money spells? Like we said before, the essential oils, just run back on that. Essential oils are herbs, made from herbs. So any essential oils you might use in a spell, if you find the physical herbs and you want to use them as well, you may, okay? And it helps just to make the spell more powerful. I have a list of vendors across Amazon. There's a lot of things, many things. eBay is a great place to get bottles and supplies. Specialtybottle.com, beautiful place, lovely people. They're just the best. They have everything there that you need if you want to go there and save yourself trouble. SaveOnScents.com is in Brooklyn, New York. You can pick up for free if you want, but they do deliver, and they have some of the things we need, especially some kind of combos of essential oils that you might want to look at. New Directions Aromatics. This is a Canadian company, but they deliver throughout the United States. And you can see I have a list of things that you can buy there that are just fantastico. That's like my best friend. I love New Directions Aromatics. So Mountain Rose Herbs, also very good company for really good high quality herbs and oils. And so check them out. Star West Botanicals, also great. And if you wanted to buy spices, that's a good place to get them. JeansGreens.com is a local organic upstate New York company. And if you live someplace else that has a company like that, please support them. Please support those people that are coming right from the farm or doing their own wild crafting or bringing herbs in and teaching people as well. Those are the people you want to work with, but they do deliver worldwide, and they're great, cool, hippie ladies. I love them. Alchemy Works, that's a great place to research about poisonous herbs. So if you're interested in doing things like ointments, flying ointments, and things like that, which can get a little tricky, and we will talk about them as we go on, and there are places that you can look to work with them. There are authors out there that have written really good, extensive books on that kind of magic working, and I can help point you in those directions. But that's a place to start researching any kind of seeds for things like Datura or Nightshade, which are not easily gotten. Petland or PetSmart in the United States or in New York has hamster bedding, easy to find. Duane Reade, which is a pharmacy, Any pharmacy will have scent free lotion. All right, and you can also buy it. I think Lubriderm makes one, and there's others as well. Vegetable glycerin is in the grocery store, or candy making supplies, or through at Star Wars Botanicals is good, and you can find it in other places. There's a Brooklyn place called Top Botanical, which is very close to where I live, and they're lovely also. Plus, there's different information here about saltpeter, bottles, on and on and on. So take a look. If you have any questions about any of that stuff, that's a lot of stuff. The first class is thick. I know this because it's all over the place and a lot of things to learn. And four of you, yeah, some of you guys stuck it out. Great. Anyway, if you have any questions, now is the time to ask me in the comment section down there below. If you have something you want to ask me, please do now about anything I just talked over and over about. In the meantime, we're going to stop now. We're going to end the class. So I can be found at the Magic Apothecary group on Facebook, or in this Spellcraft group. You can write to me in either place, or you can find me on Facebook and write to me in my normal space. Thank you. You can find me there, or you put private message me anytime, or just go ahead and start exploring. Really start thinking. That's the most important thing. Start that work of deciding what I want to work on. The next podcast, the next webcast or live event for this will be in 4 weeks. I will put up the event as soon as I know the date for sure. But there are every 4 weeks on a Thursday night. So if this is the last Thursday of the month, you can expect this to be the last Thursday of the month, although November is Thanksgiving. Last Thursday of the month is Thanksgiving in America. So I may not do it that day. I may do it the day after, but just keep an eye on it. And we'll definitely be here in October. Keep an eye for when the next time comes. And it's been a pleasure talking to you. And look for the links below. I'm going to put them all up now. And I hope you have a wonderful evening. And thank you and many blessings. Have a good night.